Greetings, Earthlings. I have another update from the Absurdium for you. Now, I don't know if you're aware of or even noticed just how biased the reporting has been on the conflict in Gaza and how pro-Israel it's been, even on the BBC, which I have to remind you is a publicly funded broadcasting company and is not supposed to be cucked by the UK government, let alone a foreign government. But we now have the receipts, and unfortunately it proves what most of us thought, and it's that the British press is cuckolded. Okay, so this is in Declassified UK. This is an article by Alex Morris and John McAvoy. I highly recommend this website. They have done a lot of exposés on secret activities with the government and their involvement in the spy flights over Gaza during hostage releases, so we know that they're looking for something. So BBC and Guardian editors held private meetings with Israeli general. This also includes the Financial Times. Exclusive former IDF chief of staff met with Britain's top journalist to promote Israel's war on Gaza. Israel's former top military officer, General Aviv Kohavi, held private meetings with the editors of major British news organisations 1 month after the Gaza bombing began, Declassified can reveal. The meetings took place with Catherine Viner, editor-in-chief of The Guardian, Richard Burgess, director of news content at the BBC, and Raula Khalaf, editor of The Financial Times. Further meetings were due to be held with Sky News chairman David Rhodes at the Israeli embassy, and then Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy between the 7th and 9th of November 2023, according to Kohavi's itinerary. Now, see, this is the thing about evil, is even though you have to admire their work ethic, they leave a paper trail. They like receipts. So I'm not going to go into the rest of this. You get the idea that our media is completely screwed, and we have a full court press by Zionists on their version of truth. Okay, this is Hasbara, and this is the problem. Now, I mean, this alone and of itself is bad enough, but now we get a report in the Middle East Eye, and the article is entitled Group of 7 October 2023 survivors file lawsuit against Al Jazeera. Oh, I'm going to circle back to something in Declassified because it's relevant to this. The group alleges that Al Jazeera incited violence and recruited members of Hamas and Islamic Jihad as journalists. A group of 7 October 2023 survivors are suing the Al Jazeera network, which is based in Qatar, in a US court, alleging that it assisted Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad in spreading propaganda, recruiting activists, and inciting violence. According to an article in the Jewish Chronicle, I suggest you look into the shady new ownership of that particular publication. On Thursday, the survivors include Morris Schneider, who is the maternal uncle of Shiri Bibas, who was taken captive by Hamas. Shader's sister and brother-in-law were also allegedly murdered in the attacks. The lawsuit was filed at US District Court in Washington, D.C. on the 23rd of February, according to Stand With Us, which says that they assisted in preparing the lawsuit. Now, this organisation has also gone after the JVP, the Jewish Voice for Peace. And they're another part of this push on narrative and narrative control. And the reason that I wanted to circle back to the other article is because you know that Al Jazeera has been banned from operating inside Israel. Well, listen to what Aviv Kohavi had to say about the destruction of the Associated Press building. Okay, during his tenure, he justified attacks on journalists, saying that soldiers who shot reporter Shireen Abu Akleh in the West Bank showed courage, and that he had not one gram of regret for flattening the Associated Press office in Gaza. This is what they think of truth and actual reporting because it affects their narrative negatively. Now, if you really were the children of light and your army really was the most moral army in the world, you wouldn't need to do this. Okay, this is tacit admission that you are as corrupt as they come. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay, even the fucking Nazis weren't this brazen. They had to hide what they were doing from their own people. Wake up, it's happening again.